welcome to my channel. So today we're going to discuss things like bridging prescriptions, how to get hormones like on the NHS or privately, and just basically kickstarting your transition. So if you didn't already know, GPs are able to prescribe T or estrogen until you get an appointment from the gender clinic, like to bridge the care. Unfortunately, a lot of GPs don't really know how to prescribe hormones properly, or they haven't done it before, or they only will do it once you've seen the gender clinic, which absolutely sucks. My GP won't prescribe them because I'm with the gender clinic but I haven't been seen yet, and they won't prescribe them until I've at least been diagnosed with gender dysphoria officially, etc. I'm not really sure at what point they will decide to help me, but the thing is with bridging prescriptions is, trigger warning, there is going to be like a few things I discuss with bridging prescriptions which are quite tricky, so just get ready or skip. So basically, bridging prescriptions can only really be prescribed, like the guidance is that you can get a bridging prescription if you are tempted to self-prescribe, likely to self-prescribe, or already self-prescribing, and also if you are tempted to harm yourself or pass away, basically unalive, due to being trans and your mental health being really bad. So it's bridging prescriptions are there to mitigate the risk of harm or death, or it really sucks, but this is the reality for a lot of trans people. So I sent a complaint into the Cumbrian-Lancashire Partnership Care Board because it's the patient experience, basically, not PALS, but like it's similar. I sent a complaint in instead of directly to the surgery because I suspected they'd ignore it if it wasn't coming from the NHS. And I'd suggest doing it the same way if you were going to send a complaint against your GP, because if you've sent a complaint in against your GP, you cannot also send a complaint into the NHS for them to investigate your GP. So if you send it directly to the GP, they could possibly ignore it. That's how I think it might go for me. So I sent it to the NHS and they're now investigating. So the thing is, in my complaint, I mentioned my dysphoria, I mentioned how my mental health was really bad, I mentioned how they weren't taking the NICE guidelines into account. So if you don't know what the NICE guidelines are, it's basically the gold standard of care, so what you should be receiving, essentially, which you're probably not if they're not prescribing you stuff when you meet the criteria. But the thing is, GPs don't have to prescribe a bridging prescription, which is why a lot of them don't. I consider this like sort of on the borders of transphobia, if transphobic, because a lot of them just don't take into account your treatment options if you're trans, or like how to help you if you're trans. My GP helped me with absolutely everything except my trans stuff. Like, they just don't seem to care, and they gave me a few like blasé answers. Like, one of the excuses that they gave was that this is the way they'd done things for 30 years. Like, how shocking is that? Like, that is not acceptable in the slightest. So what I'm having to do is go private for my hormones. So the waiting list for gender care, for example, which I'm going with, I think, because it's more expensive than the others, but it's apparently one of the best ones, if the best one, according to one of my friends, who's like talked to me about this quite extensively. So gender care, it can cost about £500 to get the diagnosis of gender dysphoria. Then it's a bit more for a blood test, maybe £200, I'm not sure. And then you can literally get on hormones, and it's about £40 a month to get hormones, roughly. So it is doable. And the waiting list is about 6 months for private for this one, and I'm going to save up and basically get this sorted, because if I'm just going insane here. Like, the fact that I've waited 4 years, I think I've been waiting like 3 years to be seen by the gender clinic, and I've been transitioning socially for 4 years. Like, it's been so stressful. Like, top surgery seems like a dream, like it's never going to happen, but I know it will one day. But hormones, like, I've been stressing about this for so long, and now, like, I've thought about going private and I'm actually biting the bullet and saving up. I feel like so much better. Like, I felt absolutely terrible, like nothing was happening at all. Yeah, so there's actually a private hormone clinic opening in the UK. I don't know much about it, but there's a TikTok video. I'll try and like link it below. But yeah, it is really difficult. You should be able to get a bridging prescription, but it is really difficult when your GP either doesn't know how to prescribe or just won't. Also, like, another thing to keep in mind is they will put you on the lowest possible dose of T or estrogen if you go through your GP and for a bridging prescription instead of like after seeing the gender clinic or going private. And I think even a lot of private places will put you on low dose T anyway, or low dose whatever. But I don't really know much about the estrogen like stuff that you can get, or the T blockers. I don't know much about that. But you know, as a female to male, I've researched my own stuff, but not like male to female stuff as much. But I'm sure it's pretty similar, getting access to each thing, whether it's, you know, like private or otherwise, because you have to go through the same process. You have to get blood tests to see your hormone levels, etc., with an endocrinologist and all that stuff. So there actually is a list of trans-friendly GPs, and if you just type in trans-friendly GPs, it should come up. It's like a database, like a spreadsheet with who has prescribed hormones before, who is willing to prescribe hormones, and who can help, basically. And I hope you find that useful information to know. If you're trans and you're really struggling right now, then just know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it does cost a lot of money to transition if you're going to go private, but hopefully you have a lot more resources than I do, and you can save up quicker, etc., like get gifts off family, friends. Like, you can also start GoFundMes. Like, I don't know what to do personally, I'm just going to save up myself, but I think some people are quite fortunate to have family that are very, very supportive, and my family are supportive, don't get me wrong, but they're not about to give me like £6,000, £10,000 for top surgery. Like, my dad doesn't consider that like something that I need badly, but he doesn't understand. Like, he saved up some money for me to move out, but he doesn't consider my transition as important, and that's just the facts. Like, yeah. It's hard out here, but I hope this was helpful. Bye bye.